Hey guys, from our house to your house on Wednesday evening, and we're trying to get just a few things up and going. Hope we've got it going really good. We'd like to welcome you and let us know who you are and how many are watching with you on this first Wednesday, this 7:44 meeting that we have tonight. We have a very special guest, and I will introduce him to you in just a minute. But I do want to know where you're watching from, how many are watching with you, and we're going to be talking about some very important things tonight. So, man, it looks great. There's Sue's with us, and Maggie, and Gary, and Jolene. Maggie has 3 there with her. Hey, listen, as you're getting on, we'll be about 30 seconds slow when you make a post for us to get it. But we're going to be talking about some real critical things during this time of a lockdown. But before we do that, I want to remind you, tomorrow is National Day of Prayer.
Yeah.
And we're doing prayer walks, prayer drives. And then also at the church, we've got Pampers and Prayers. We've got set up outside for you to drop by the Pampers for the first
or any kind of diapers or pull-ups.
Yeah.
And so, wipes if you can find them.
Yeah, if you can find them. And then there'll be prayer warriors there to pray with you. And so that's going to be really a great time. And then also let me remind you that we're doing Mother's Day pictures. So I want to encourage you to go onto our website and sign up and get your appointment. It'll all be safe and keep distancing and all that. We have our 2 professional photographers, and it's going to be a great time, but you need to sign up to be able to do that. Yeah, because slots
are filling up, and once that time is taken, you can't get in there. So if you'll go to thefathershouse.com, scroll up so you go down toward the bottom of the page, you'll see the event for the Mother's Day pictures. Click on the link, and you'll be able to pick your time, and we'll give you directions on what exactly to do.
So many great people signing on. We're so glad. And so today we announced that we're going to be going back to live services, a soft opening on Pentecost Sunday.
Hallelujah.
The church was birthed on Pentecost, so why not reopen on Pentecost Sunday? It'll be a family-friendly experience. That means that you'll bring your kids with you. They'll sit with you. We'll tell you about some ways that you can help them. Safe, sanitized, and spacious. So we'll tell you a little bit more about that. But we welcome you, and so I'd like to introduce a very special guest and a friend and a new covenant partner. He and his wife Lisa, and that's Michael David Huey is with us today. Michael, we welcome you. We're so glad you took time out of your busy schedule to be with us tonight.
Pastor, thank you so much. I don't really feel like I'm new. I feel like I feel like we are new, but I feel like I've known you forever. So
I know. We go back a long way, don't we?
13 years. It's kind of,
yeah. Hey, to introduce yourself to the Father's House people a little bit, why don't you tell us a little about your story as a Christ follower and how that you came into relationship with Christ and what He's done for you in your life.
It's really cool to be able to share that. Actually, this year is 40 years I've been following
40.
Jesus.
Wow.
40 years. I mean, I know I'm only 42, so I've been following Jesus since I was 2. But no, I feel 30, but I'll be 52 years old this year. And so at age 11, I received Jesus. I lived in an alcoholic father's family. My mother was saved. My grandmother was saved. My grandmother was my angel. She's the one that taught me to love Jesus and know Jesus. I was actually in my high school, I was known as "Look out, here comes Jesus," right? Which is a good thing when you think about it, when you think about the impact that you make on people's lives. But I was told I'd never graduate from high school. I was told I'd never go to college. So many things that I was told, and my cousin told me that that the difference between religion and having a relationship with God was 12 inches. And he said, from your head to your heart. And he always went like this. And he said, the most important thing is that you believe in your heart and confess with your mouth. And he said, when you do that, the very same spirit that raised God from the dead will take residence in your side of your body. And I was 11 years old. I was like, how's that going to happen? Right. and in an instant, that same spirit took residence inside my body, and I knew what it meant to be. Because when he said born again, I was like, well, I'm not going back in my mom's womb, right? Like, how's that going to happen, right? And when he told me that, I experienced that very appreciation for who God was, and that he died for me, and that he knew me, and he chose me, and that he told me, you said this the other day in one of your messages, you know, I'm a workmanship. I am an overcomer. I will go to college. And I mean, I can talk more about that, but yeah, that was for me, knowing that God loved me and died for me. I promised him at age 11 that I would serve him the rest of my life until he either took me home or he came back. And so that's who I am and what I'm about. My whole life is my business, my life, my marriage, everything is about Jesus and about the kingdom.
Awesome.
Great.
And you and Lisa have been married how long? And let everybody know what she does, because she's on the front line right now.
She actually, this is what I really love about my wife, is that she has a very strong prophetic gift. One of the greatest prophetic gifts that I've ever been around. I kind of call her, if those of you who remember Kim Clement, who was one of my favorite musicians and prophets. When he died, it saddened me, and because of the things that he prophesied and spoke into the truth, right? And I called my wife like a modern day female Kim Clement, except she can't sing. She doesn't sing. I'm the one that actually sings, but she actually had the opportunity recently here just now when we moved over here to either go to work or not go to work. And she chose to go to work. And even during this, they wanted to pay her. And she decided, you know, to stay home. They were going to pay her to stay home. And she's like, no, I feel like the Lord wants me to go and serve. And she's been praying for people and encouraging people and just doing that. And she's just one of the most amazing. I don't say it because she's my wife. I just say it because the Bible says a man who finds a good wife finds favor with God. And I believe that I wouldn't be here today without her love and God's grace and mercy. And so I'm grateful for her.
And you got to be careful what you say, because she's online watching right
now. I know. I'm surprised she's not. Oh, she just said no, sir, on the text. So
but she's a nurse.
You didn't tell us that she's a nurse and all of that.
Yeah, she's a nurse. She's a nurse here in Ocoee. And the reason we kind of moved where we moved, it's kind of funny. I was going to buy this house next door to me. And a guy that I'd just recently led to the Lord said, I don't think you're supposed to buy. I think you're supposed to rent. And I was like, well, how am I going to do that? I got to move in like 2 weeks. And I looked over this lake here we live on, and there was a rainbow over the lake. Wow. I was like, I took a picture of it and texted it to Lisa, and she said, that's where we're supposed to go. And so now we're 20 minutes, she's 25 minutes from there, and we're 25 minutes from the church, which is perfect. We're right in the middle of her work and right in the middle of church. So we just know, I felt this a long time ago. And I think I shared this with you guys before. I really felt like one day that I would be connected with the Father's House ministry in some way bigger than what I am than just Christmas and Easter when we come up. And now Lisa and I really feel honored to be able to serve under you two, because we feel like you're our friends already. So
we appreciate that. Hey, we're going to talk about nutrition tonight. And so I would encourage people, if you have questions about nutrition, we'll talk about that. But before we do that, Michael, why don't you let us know a little bit about your background so that people won't think that we just picked you up and you read a book today on nutrition. Right?
Well, it's funny when people ask me what I do, my wife was always say 30 seconds. She says 30 seconds, right?
Okay, ready, go.
I call myself a second chance coach for men. I'm a kingdom. This logo, he influences, he being God influences me to influence men to walk in purpose. And I believe one of my most important things that I'm passionate about is health and nutrition. And I'm kind of a forward thinker when it comes to that. I don't just do status quo stuff. We're in the 21st century. We're not using flip phones and beepers and all the things that we use. So for me, I went to undergrad and graduate school at The Ohio State University.
What was that again?
The Ohio State University. Go Noles. So I would root for the Noles if I had to root for a Florida team, just so you know that. I just had to get my little.
We lost half of our audience right there. Be careful.
So I also have about 30 certifications. I have a degree in exercise science and in nutrition. I have about 30 certifications, from anti-aging to nutrition to wellness. I've been in the industry for 27 years. Wow. But like I said, I'm only 40. So I've been doing it most of my life. But yeah, and I have a passion to help people walk in purpose. And I have an old saying: if you don't take care of your body, where will you live?
Wow, that's
right.
Great. So those of you that are watching, if you have questions about nutrition and health, you can let us know. So my question would be, if I was watching right now, okay, I'm on lockdown and I've lost my job, or I'm not sure what's going to happen, and I'm homeschooling these kids, and I've got all of them with me right now. So why would you take an entire 744 and deal with nutrition at a time like this when I've got so many other issues?
Well, I believe it's a lifestyle. There's as when Pastor was doing this, he brought to me that he was doing 744, and he just said like, and I texted him Luke 744. Where I believe that nutrition is the biggest part of what we do. If we don't put the right things in our body, I believe nutrition and the whole 9 yards. Like, what are we hearing now a lot about? Our immune system, right? We want a high immune system. Lisa and I laugh all the time. We haven't been sick in over 10 years.
Wow.
And and we've eliminated about 90% of the medications from our family. So I believe that, and I told Pastor that I have some things, and if and when he's ready for me to share that, I would like to just share some simple things that you can do that I believe that if you do these going forward and you continue to do them the rest of the year, that you're going to start to see radical change, not only in your life, but in the life of your children and your family and those type of things. And I believe that we're in a season now where Pastor says this all the time, it's not where things aren't going to ever really go back to normal. It's going to be a new normal. And I believe that new normal is going to be different and better.
Yeah. Now, I know you're not a doctor, but I do know that nutrition and health is something that you've studied for a long, long time. So in the midst of all of that, I think it's very critical of our body cooperates with our spirit. And so if my body is out of whack, it's really hard for me to do that. So what are some of the, we got a couple of great questions in, but let me ask you this. What are some of the basic things that we could do? Say I'm just an average person and I don't know a lot about vitamin C, D, E, H, Q, all of those. But what are some of the basic things I could do beginning today to help me to be, to be more healthy?
And it's really funny. My wife being the nurse, she just texted, doctors don't know anything about nutrition, which they really don't. They're never taught. They spend about an hour in medical school. So I would say we always hear a lot about, and I'm going to teach you something that I think if you guys learn these little easy basic things that you've probably never heard of it, you're probably going to know about it, but you're going to really learn how to do this. And I hope that it encourages you and Anita too, because we hear a lot about diets high in fruits and vegetables, right? But here's what I want you to try. I want you to try rotating those fruits and vegetables. Do you know that 90% of you listening today will not eat fruits and vegetables? And it's sad. You have to teach yourself. There's a lot of salt-free spices and stuff that you can use to spice foods up. You can use olive oil. You can use coconut oil. There's a lot of things that you can use, but rotate those fruits. So the fruits that you eat, you want to think about a rainbow type of fruits and vegetables, but you want to eat one certain type this week. And this is what I do with me and Lisa. You want to eat certain fruits and vegetables this week, and the next week, don't eat the same ones, eat different ones. And then the following week, go back to what you ate week one. And then you just rotate those, right? It gives the gut what's called diversity. Okay. Now, here's what a lot of people are hearing this talk about high levels of antioxidants. Okay. Right. You can actually overdose on antioxidants.
Wow.
Okay? Because there's this new pathway that's called NRF2. It's a pathway inside your body that when you hit 60 or 70,
what? Okay.
When you hit 60 or 70, they stop working. But now through these naturally occurring compounds, you can activate that pathway to turn them back on to work like when you were Raylan's age.
Really?
That's Anita.
Nice.
And it's proven in every person ever tested. So, and then here's another thing. How many of us don't drink enough water?
True.
Okay. Write this down, 0.5 to 0.7 times your body weight a day. Everybody asked me what type of water. I'm not going to go into too much detail of that. If you can drink reverse osmosis water, it's better for you. If you can drink alkaline water, it's even better for you, because the body cancer cannot grow in an alkaline body. Okay.
Wow.
It's hard for disease. So here's one other thing. Dr. Gundry says, walk 1 hour, 6 days a week, and your risks of heart disease, cancer, and diabetes go down 70%.
70%.
70%. 1 hour, 6 days a week. And here's what I'll tell you to do. Go 30 minutes out and 30 minutes back. Why do you think I say go 30 minutes out and 30 minutes back?
Well, don't quit too early.
Because you don't quit. You don't quit. Like when I think about that it's 3.5 miles around the loop of our house, it freaks me out, because I know riding it's long, and walking it's going to be even longer, right? But when I think that it's only an hour, I'm okay with it. And so here's the last couple things I'll say. Get more sleep. Okay. Trust me. Here's a couple things that you can do. No caffeine after 2 p.m. Set a standard time that you go to bed, which I know Pastor Terry likes to go to bed really early. And
earlier every night.
Yeah. Right. And get up at the same time every day.
Yes.
And your goal should be 7.5 hours of sleep. Okay.
Yeah.
Here's another thing. Take a cold shower. I know you guys aren't going to like this, but take a 2-minute cold shower. You can start off with the hot and wash your body, but then set a timer for 1 to 2 minutes. Take a cold shower, 1 to 2 minutes. And here's the next thing. Okay. No phone an hour before bedtime.
I heard that.
Okay.
Yes.
EMF is terrible for you. We turn our Wi-Fi off. We put our phones on airplane mode. That's something that you can really do. And here's my last 2 things that I'm going to share, and then we can answer some questions if you want. Try to minimize stress. Okay. Try to minimize as much stress. You are a product of your environment. If you're in a healthy environment, I say pray and turn your stress over to God. Build relationships with healthy people. Remember, change is good. And here's my last one. You can get, like, I don't know if you guys saw, everybody laughs when they see this. They think I'm drinking beer or something with some ice in it, which I'm not. I'm drinking what's called kombucha. Kombucha has good, you may not like the taste of it. You can find some different one. This one is turmeric and ginger, which is super. Okay.
That's one that burns you.
Yeah. And but here's the thing. You want to take a pre or a probiotic. I say take them both, and I'm going to explain this to you in 30 seconds. Okay. Here's what a pre and a probiotic does. There's no way you can get what you need in your gut without them. Now, look, I know everybody may have a budget or whatever they're going to spend. I tell them, if you have to choose a pre and a probiotic. And here's why. Because it not only does it boost your immune system, it balances. I take one that has, if you can remember this, write this word down, Wellmune. Okay. And I take one that has BioTrack technology. The most that you're going to get is usually 20 to 25% of the spores of the probiotic into the small and large intestines. I take one that gets 60 to 85%. Okay. On a time release mechanism. Okay. I used to take all the expensive ones, and they just didn't get very much. So here's the last thing I'll say. So a pre and a probiotic, the probiotic is the seeds. Like if we're going to plant a tree by the river, okay, of the water, right? That tree is, Pastor, you taught me this, it's just a tree, right? It's just a tree, right? But that tree needs roots, right? So the seeds are the probiotics, and the prebiotics are the light, the sunshine, and the water.
Wow.
Okay. And that beta glucan gets all of that stuff into the digestive tract and cleans out the gut. And it goes by this gut-brain barrier, which allows you, if you have a healthy gut, you're going to have more energy. You're going to have your eyesight's going to be better. Your cognitive function is going to be better. Our gut controls a lot of what goes on in our brain. So those are some things, some simple things that you can do during this time and going forward to boost your immune system.
Yeah, Bear had a good question. This is good. He said, if you drink alkaline water, doesn't stomach acid neutralize it?
No, that's a good question. Depending on what the pH is, okay? Like, let me explain that. So everybody's body is different, okay? I'm going to use Anita and Pastor Terry, for instance. Anita does better with 7.5 alkaline, and Terry does better like me with 9.5. And that's very common with people. You just have to drink the water that will allow your stomach to be able to pass that acid, the water to get past the acid of the stomach and to balance and pH your body the way it was intended.
So how would somebody know what pH they need? How would they do that?
It's kind of, you'll be able to feel how you feel. Like I have a friend of mine who's my accountability partner. He's like Anita. He just, number one, doesn't like it and doesn't feel right when he takes this, the 9.5. So you just have to kind of try which one is best. Usually it's kind of funny. I just tell people to try in the middle and then you'll know. And some people stick with 8.5. I like 9.5 because it's more, your body's more alkaline if you can handle it.
So we had a couple questions back a ways ago. Debbie wanted to know, she said, what's the best thing for gastro health? She has, her gallbladder's been removed, but she still has issues and is on antacids every day. So what would be good for her gastro health?
Prebiotic and a probiotic. What I would tell her to do is something that Lisa and I do. I'll just encourage you guys. This is, we do a cleanse every other month. Okay. And we do what's called a charcoal lemonade cleanse. And I'll post it in some of the show notes if we can. And we just take lemon and charcoal and some maple syrup, and we put it in there and we mix it up and we drink 4 to 6 ounces every night before we go to bed. Wow. And that begins to clean out the liver and detoxify the liver. And then when we add the pre and the probiotic in there, they function better about cleaning out the gut. That's having acid reflux and all that stuff is your gut. It's all your gut.
Okay, another question was by Linda. She said, what can I do to curb my cravings?
That's awesome. So here's why, another reason why I think probiotics and prebiotics are so important, Anita, is that a probiotic makes the stomach feel full. So what do you do when you feel full? You don't eat as much, okay? So if you drink water, which was one of the things we talked about, and you take a prebiotic that makes you feel full, almost every single person that I know that takes a pre and a probiotic and keeps taking it long-term gets under a healthy weight. Their blood sugar level lows if they're a diabetic, which is significant for somebody who's a diabetic. I talk about that all the time. That's why I say the two most important things are that NRF2 activation and a probiotic and prebiotic that I talked about in the beginning, because those regulate your blood sugar level, and they get your cholesterol into a leveled out system. Like my dad's used to be 300 and now he's 160.
Wow.
Okay. And he's still overweight. So you can use those things. And now he's finally losing weight because he's added the pre and the probiotic in his body.
Yeah.
So do you recommend a particular pre and probiotic?
Yeah. I mean, if anybody wants to ask me, I'll be more than happy to show them what I take. I take one that's a combination one, like I said, that has Wellmune and BioTrack. If you also write down BioTrack technology. I take the only one that has BioTrack in it, and what it does is it time releases the probiotic. So it does it at 4 hours, 8 hours, and 12 hours, which gets them bypass the stomach. And it's in a ball shape that has the technology on the outside, so you really can't crush it up. You have to take it as the 3 pills that you take it. And then you just mix the prebiotic in some water and drink it first thing in the morning. It's really simple.
So can you get that like on Amazon, or do you have to order that at a special place?
You just order you can order it through me. We're a retailer, a wholesaler, and you can just order it through me if you want. And you pay the same price that I do. So it's kind of nice.
Okay.
Somebody asked, what about vitamin D? We're hearing so much about that. Vitamin D is, good against COVID and stuff like that.
Absolutely. I mean, you can take extra vitamin D. I would only tell you to take it in a liquid form. Okay. I would tell you that if you feel like you don't feel good, another thing is liquid vitamin A. Lisa and I have it in a crystallized form that we keep in the refrigerator. If we ever feel anything coming on, like a sinus thing or anything, we just drip it and boom, it knocks it right out. But going back to the vitamin D thing, there's a difference. Here's how that sums it up in a nutshell. I can take an external source. I'm going to use you, Anita. If I give you a tablet of vitamin D and you take it, it has one purpose and then it exits the body. Okay. With this NRF2 technology, you can take a NRF2 pill and it'll turn back on your body's own antioxidant response system. So it's constantly working 24/7, just like the thermostat in our house. When Pastor Terry turns the thermostat down, the temperature is going to regulate to what it is. Same thing when you leave the house. You don't want your thermostat up and down. You want it to work when it's supposed to, and you want it to constantly work. So that's the difference. I relate it kind of like this. Did the payphone work? Yeah. But how many payphones do you see nowadays? Not many.
Right.
Everybody uses an iPhone if they're smart. Just kidding.
Here's a great question. Jolene wants to know what the best vitamins and diet would be for a 12-year-old who is pre-diabetic.
Wow.
That's great. Okay. So I tell kids to really watch out what, parents to watch out what they give their kids for for vitamins, just because they really don't digest them that well.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say this: the best thing for a kid is a probiotic, and I'll tell you why. Because if it, and I'm sometimes I like this. I like to share this because even kids at a young age who have disabilities like autism and things like that, you give them a probiotic and they clean up their gut.
Yeah.
They begin to talk. They begin to function normally. I mean, we're seeing all kinds of these things happen, but I'm really careful, Anita, about that because they really don't, their body's still maturing, and it's really tough to say if they really need it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I know they say that they do, but I think if you give them a probiotic and you add some fruits and vegetables to their diet at that young age, it's going to go a long way at them being healthy.
Yeah.
Here's another good question from Gary Sheets, who's one of our new guys. He says, I'm a diabetic. I've reduced my insulin significantly since our fast from the first of the year. I've been doing a modified keto with some carbs. My issue, I bike daily, keep busy. I've lost 25 pounds since the first of the year, but I've been stuck for weeks at my current weight. I take Epicor, zinc, and Clear Restore.
That's a good question. So most Dr. Gundry, who I love to follow, he's the one that said if you walk 1 hour a day, 6 days a week, that you can help. Dr. Lang, that you can help clean up the gut. But here's what happens: it speeds up and regulates your metabolism. Okay, so what he said is he was working really hard. He lost a little bit of weight. He was trying to lose 60 to 70 pounds. And he only lost like 20, and he still needed to lose 40 more. And what he realized is that, number one, his gut was completely destroyed. And if you think about what Gary said, he's talking a little bit about how he's a diabetic, and I'm just going to guess that maybe Gary's on metformin. I don't know about that, but metformin is really tough at losing weight, and it's considered a nerve 2 activator with all of the side effects. So I would love to tell Gary to take a natural nerve 2 activator and a pre and a probiotic. His blood sugar levels will come down to normal. His metabolism will speed up, and it'll regulate. Because probably what's happening, and I don't know, it's usually an up regulation and a down regulation of his blood sugar level, which has a tendency to make you not lose weight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody said, what about apple cider vinegar every day?
Well, that's a good question. Everybody asks me that question. It's so funny. And I'll tell you this. So Lisa and I do gut testing. Okay. We do a bowel test and we do a hair, nail, and saliva test on all of our people. And we've kind of found out that we are gravitating more towards the hair, nail, and saliva because it's your DNA. So it tells you every function of your body, right? And what I found out, and Lisa found out, that our bodies don't like it. Here's the only thing I will tell you. I still use it, but I rotate it like I taught you in the beginning. So I would take apple cider vinegar for 2 weeks, then don't take it for 2 weeks, then take it for 2 weeks, then don't take it for 2 weeks. Your gut, and I know this is blowing people's mind because the gut needs diversity. I saw somebody on there talking about keto. I would never do a ketogenic diet for more than 4 to 6 weeks. Mm-hmm. Because the body doesn't want to be in a state of ketosis that long. Right. Yeah. People argue back and forth about that, but I went to PubMed.gov and I've went to Google Scholar, which is, I would tell you, don't use regular Google to do your research. Use Google Scholar and PubMed because you can find anything. Anybody can put anything on there. Heck, if you Google Jesus, you don't find good things, right? If you Google Bill Johnson, you find that he's a heretic, and we all know that that's not true, right? So I would say, do your research on those things, or just ask me questions. And I'm more than happy to, my goal is to help the church be healthy. I think the church is not healthy nowadays. And so I think that's a big piece. What were you getting ready to say, Anita?
we got a few more questions, but Gary said he's taken Humalog, but he doesn't take it anymore, and Levemir. So
Okay.
those are the things he's taking. And I don't know if that makes a difference, but then Debbie said, where can we see you to be tested? So since we're on Zoom and we don't have the chat in Zoom, but people have the chat on Facebook, probably what we should do is if you either want to give an email address or something in that chat so people can connect with you directly, or whatever you think is the best way for people to ask you questions or try to get the test or the program.
Are you able to, Anita, are you able to text in the chat box?
Yes.
Okay. Why don't you put my email address in there? It's Michael and it's at Hefluence, but there's a little line in here in between the Hefluence. So it's Michael he-fluence.
Yeah.
.com. Michael at he-fluence.com.
Well, you're just really sharing a lot of great things. Why don't you share, we'll get some more questions in here, but why don't you share a little bit about what you're doing right now, some of the plans that you have, and how that we can pray with you as part of the Father's house to see some of those plans you have out to make a difference in people's lives.
Awesome. So as I said, and I want to thank the Father's house for you and Anita in the church for praying for Lisa and I. One of the big things that we're working on right now, our administrative assistant in Colombia contracted COVID-19. Wow. And it would cost me more. It would cost me 5 times the amount of money to send product to him, and I would never know if he got it. So there's a lot of things that go on over there, and I've had to hire somebody to replace him because I need work done and he's in the hospital and can't work. So if you can pray for him, that would be great. Here's another thing. Oh, look, there's
stop harassing our friends.
Dr. Langley, what's going on?
I tell you what, you just never know who's going to pop up on these shows.
I know.
Yes.
It's just like the devil or the Lord. Which is it?
Well, so you can also, I'm glad you're here. So you can also pray for us. We're getting ready to launch some courses for those of you who are men. I saw a lot of men commenting on there. 70% of men have low testosterone. Okay. So low testosterone, you need to do a test. If you're a man and you've never done a test, connect with me on my email, do a test. I took my last pastor at my other church. He had about 200. You feel really good about 600 to 800. And, he went from 200 to 800. So in about 90 days, and I can do it in 30 days, but he just kind of took the slow track. So there's some things that you can do there, but if you just want to do some of those testings like DNA testing and gut testing, I will give free PDFs for everybody in the church for whatever topic they want to learn about. If it's this immune system that you just heard me about, just send me an email and say, I want the PDF on your immune system, and everything that I talked about tonight, I'll give you, and you can just have it, use it, and then implement it.
Yeah.
Well, I know that when I was diagnosed a couple of years ago, a lot of people online saying, hi, Dr. Langley. So but a couple of years ago when I was diagnosed with the lung cancer, you sent us some materials and some supplements, or I guess that's not the right word.
Activators.
I think really made a difference.
Yep.
in that whole process, prayer. And I think that made a big difference.
And, can I say too, because it's not just men that need testosterone, because women also need testosterone, which is a big why would a woman need testosterone? But I've been
cortisol.
I've been on testosterone pellets, and it has made a huge difference in me. And I can tell in my mood, I can tell in my thoughts, everything. And that whole, we're just so ignorant, not by anyone's choice, obviously, of how this amazing body that God designed works. So we do things or don't do things to help it work the way God intended. So, this kind of knowledge is power. And it's like, hey, now that we know, let's do something about it. And I think one of the biggest problems, I don't know if I'm the only one, but all these non-food foods, processed foods that get you addicted or crave, that we eat, that are not good for us at all, then you get in that cycle. And not only do you physically get in that, but you also get in it emotionally, and then you feel bad and you get in that crazy. So do you have some advice for a quick
Yes.
way to say, I know I'm not doing right, but I'm in this cycle that I can't feel like getting out of?
And you just gave me God just gave me kind of a vision about this. So there's this thing called intermittent fasting. Okay. I don't know if you guys do it or if you know about it or if you're familiar with it, but I've been doing it for years, and I'm developing a course on it actually. And I have some PDFs and some videos that I will give to the church. I'll put that together, and you can put that on the website in the file section or whatever. Usually on the Facebook page, you can put a file in there. Tomorrow I will spend time putting together a little file for you with all these videos and all this stuff. I'll put it together so you guys can have it. It's very important that you do this. And a lot of people say, well, what if I can't fast? There's a difference between fasting and intermittent fasting. Right. I use like for me, what works for me is the 16-8 method, Anita. Yeah. That means that you eat from like noon to 8, and then you don't eat till noon the next day. Now, my chiropractor on the other hand, he likes the 5-2 method. Okay. Now, that means he eats his normal, 8 to 8, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Tuesday and Thursday, he eats 2 days where he only eats 600 calories. Yeah. So he eats 3 meals of 200 calories. Now, I'll tell you, a lot of people like that different because they think it's easier because there's only 2 days that they really have to do something, right? Yeah. So there's a lot of different ways to do that. But I think what that does is that lowers your cholesterol level, and it lowers a lot of different levels of terms and words that I won't go into, but it will allow you not to have a high glycemic response to foods, and then you won't crave the foods that you need to crave because your blood sugar level is regulated. What happens when you eat one chip, Pastor Terry?
You want the whole bag.
And I'm worse at the whole bag than him.
Do you guys fight over the bag like Lisa and I?
No, I just take a few. She takes the bag.
Well, see, that's Lisa and I kind of go back and forth with it. So I put the bag in the middle, and then we just kind of go back and forth. But I'll just tell you this. Here's what I do want to say. One thing. Don't have one day where you cheat. Don't call it a cheat meal. Call it a cheat day. Okay, now some of you are going to look at me like I'm crazy, but guys, do you know how many people I've worked with? Thousands. I've coached and worked personally one-on-one with thousands of people. And what I've learned is like I was saying to you guys earlier, I have now been able to, and those of you that are watching, I pray that you guys will understand this, is that there's a lot of stuff that you guys can learn from that you just don't think about, but it's there. Okay. And it's simple. So it's like, I take a lot of men and I show them this new activation over supplementation. I don't know if you guys saw a post I did the other day, but I used to take 30 supplements a day. Okay. 30. I told Pastor Terry this, I had an AM and a PM box. Okay. And I took about 15 in the morning and about 15 at night. So if you guys are watching out there, now I only take about 6. Okay. I only take about 6 now. Now think about that. How many of you would like to go from 30 to 6?
Sure.
Okay. And here's what happened. Not only did I do that, but I got my family to do it, and we eliminated 90% of the medications in our family without a single dietary change. Wow. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm just saying that there are things that you can do because we're in the 21st century, not in the 20th century. And It's really funny that Dr. Langley was here. He's one of the first people to tell me about the technology, and he actually wanted me to do the research because he heard about it and asked me to do the research. And here we are 10 years later, and I'm talking to you guys about it, and he walks in. So
I have a quick question. Sorry, I have a quick question. Because
Shoot.
I'm not great at drinking a lot of water. He's really good. Okay. But when I do, I'm not thirsty. Okay. But if I start drinking water, like right now, I can't get enough water. I'm constantly, once I start.
Are you wondering why you're like that?
So why am I thirsty when I'm drinking water and not when I'm not drinking water?
Okay. So are you ready for this? Pastor Terry, grab her hand so she doesn't run away. Okay. So it's the same reason why when people drink alkaline water, they like it, Anita. They like it like me and Pastor Terry, you know, and Lisa. They like it because it makes them drink more. Okay. So your body, when you're dehydrated and you start to drink, then you have to make up for what the body didn't have from previous. So think about this. Your stomach is a certain size depending on how big you make it from the food we eat and how the food digests.
Right.
It's why when you have a pre and a probiotic, the stomach shrinks to a size that it's supposed to be. If you don't fill it up, it's just like your muscles. Do you ever feel like when you drink a lot of when you drink a lot of water, that your muscles feel fuller and you feel thinner, and you everybody's like that. They don't think about it in the natural mind, but I can tell you that if you do this on yourself for the next couple of days, drink 0.5 times your body weight per water for a week and watch what happens to your body. You remember your muscles are made of 70% water. If you don't drink enough water, what does your body feed off of if it can't feed off of fat and muscle?
Well, Michael, this has been really good, and we're going to have to bring this to a close. But you do have a podcast. Talk about the podcast so people can sign up for that if they want.
Yeah, and look, we tailor it towards men on podcasts, but we have couples that have been on the podcast. I was just saying that I'm going to be having some really special people on in the next couple of weeks. Some people in ministry, some couples that are launching programs. It's called the He-Fluence Podcast. I'll just tell you this. If you're female, share it with your husband. I'm telling you the fruit that has come out of this. People are getting saved. Marriages are getting rectified. People are walking in purpose in their health, their relationships, their finances. It's important that we as kingdom-minded people work on our finances. So you can go to Apple. If you have an Apple product, you can go to Apple. You can go to Spotify if you have an Android or something, or you can go to Anchor if you don't have either one of those, and you can listen to the podcast. And you can find us if you want to go to our website, it's this word right here, hefluence.com, and you can find our podcast on there also.
Well, again, we certainly
Awesome.
thank you. We've had a lot of people say, wow, this is great information. And so maybe somewhere down the line, we'll do this again. We'll get some of those questions. Let me just remind everybody, tomorrow is National Day of Prayer. And if you're watching there on Facebook, the Father's House Facebook, you can see the link to participate tomorrow. It's going to be great. Remember, drive by the church. We've got Pampers and prayer. Drop off the diapers to help First Baptist.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, so it's going to be good. And then sign up for your Mother's Day's pictures. Those are really important. And so tomorrow from 10 to 2 and 4 to 6, they're doing the Pampers and the prayer. And we really appreciate it. And again, Michael, thank you so much for watching. And those of you that are watching online, begin praying for our soft opening on Pentecost Sunday.
Can't wait.
Can't wait.
So good.
Let me pray for you. Father, I thank you for those that are watching tonight. I thank you, Lord, that we live in these bodies, and if we don't take care of them, where are we going to live? That was a great thought that Michael said. And you said that we're to take care of these bodies. And so we know we've all been locked in, and we're talking about the different things that are going on, but we ask you to help us to get back on track if we've got off track. We ask you to help us to utilize the best things we can do to cooperate with this body and the healing process that you have put into this body. We thank you for people in the Father's house like Michael and the others that will be on sharing in the next few weeks. And we just give you thanks in the name of Jesus. Well, again, thank you. What do you like to say? And we better click off here.
Love you guys. God bless.
See
Love
you
you guys
later.
too. Have a good night.
Thanks.
Thanks,
Bye.
you guys.